party. I'm Kristin Dos Santos, and I'm joined by the biggest Will and Grace fans on the planet. Yes! We just watched the first Will and Grace episode in 11 years. Oh my God, so crazy. For the next 5 weeks, you can join us after every episode for cast interviews, behind-the-scenes scoop, and basically a lot of shameless fanning out. It's what we do. I'm so excited that we kick off our first episode with a visit from Will himself. Mr. Eric McCormack's gonna be here. Yes, but first, let's see how we got to the premiere. Check this out.
Never say never.
I'm so busy. What can I do that's low effort, high impact?
Fart in an elevator?
That was not me!
Being back here feels surreal.
We heard our music, and every one of us just started to cry.
Mayor of the City of Angels proclaimed today Will and Grace Day.
There's still stories to tell that are relevant to what's going on in society today.
All right, I want to know what you guys all thought, and I have to start with you. I don't think you can breathe. Are you okay? What was it like for you to see the core four again, your four BFFs?
Do you remember in that episode in season 3 when it's fathers and sons and Jack is meeting his dad for the first time and Will says, but you didn't know him. And he goes, but I loved him. And that's how I feel about this whole cast. I didn't know them, but I love them. And they're just so amazing. It's so amazing.
All right, so what did you think about how they reset the show?
I loved how they did it. However, I did think they were going to use Grace's mom's funeral to bring in
Yes.
for Debbie Reynolds' character.
Yes.
But they did it, but it's okay because it worked, and I loved it, and they're funny as heck. So.
Yes. I love that it was all a dream. Like
Yes.
Aaron
And
Black
I love
all
how
the
subtle
time.
that was.
Yeah.
It was like moving on.
Right, exactly. Hi, I'm Kristen.
I'm Gerald. Nice
Oh,
to
hi,
meet you.
nice to meet you. So this is actually my Will, you guys. IRL, in real life. So we met in college, we briefly dated, we talked a lot about Will and Grace.
Yes, we did.
And went shoe shopping. It didn't quite work out. You can fill in the blanks. We had sort of like, we disconnected a little bit, and then we met up again in a supermarket parking lot. This is 100% Will and Grace.
Yes.
In fact, I feel like maybe we deserve a cut of the show, but we can talk about that later. So what did you think about the whole Oval Office thing and the decorating? Like, would you take that job, and what would you do?
Well, like Grace, I would have a huge moral dilemma because, let's just say, I'm not a fan-alo of our current administration.
Gerald, I am shocked. I would talk you through it.
You would talk me through it.
It would be fine.
But,
yeah.
ultimately, I think I would do it with the condition that I could secretly put an ejector seat on the desk, in the chair.
That's a visual I can just hold on to. Thank you for that, my Will.
Oh, my Grace.
All right, I'm curious what Will and Grace means to you. 'Cause you were getting a little emotional watching it, I have to say.
It just brought me back to like my teenager years when I was watching it and like coming out and like having Will and Grace as a support. It was great for me, and it's great to we have it back again. And like the teenagers that are growing up now and with all the changes that are happening right now, it's so scary sometimes. So I feel like it's great to like bring some positivity into what's going on right now.
Right. Yeah. Now we want to hear what Will and Grace means to you, so make sure you hit us up using the hashtag #AskWillAndGrace. Now the only thing that could be better than being here, maybe, is to be a part of the audience on the first episode taping. So we're heading over to stage 22 to find out what it was like from the fans firsthand to be there on the big night. Take a look.
Will and Grace is back. It's awesome. It's like getting the Beatles back together again.
My favorite show. Woo! Today was amazing just to see the cast. We've been waiting for this moment to come back.
I knew straight away that it was going to be exactly as good as all the previous seasons.
He was screaming. He almost lost his voice.
When I came out to my grandma, the first thing she mentioned was how much she loved Will and Grace when she watched it every week. Hi, Grandma.
I'm a Will, and this is my Grace.
I literally cannot wait to watch it on TV, even though I just saw it in studio.
I actually came out to my family through a Will and Grace episode.
Good night. Good night, you guys. Thanks for coming.
Blowing your kisses. Bye, Eric. Kisses. We love him.
Okay, tonight marks the return of our favorite show. And if it's not your favorite show, that's okay. You have terrible taste in television. I forgive you. And we couldn't think of anyone better as our first guest than the man who puts the will in Will and Grace, Mr. Eric McCormack.
What up, everybody?
Mwah, so good to see you.
Good to see you. Hi, welcome. How's everybody? Hey.
Congratulations. These people all
Hi,
loved it.
everybody.
Where were you tonight watching the episode?
With my wife and my mother-in-law. Yeah, it's very sexy. No, we saw the show as a cast together in New York at the festival, the Tribeca TV Festival, Saturday night on a big screen, which was too big. It was too big for a TV show, but it was great.
Tell me about your rituals when you go into the show. Is there anything you do like behind the scenes?
On the day of the show, we run it with the crew who've only really seen the show the day before, because we do the first 3 days, just us and the props guys and the director, and that's about it. And then we do the show for the crew, and then the girls go into makeup, and I generally go home. I live very close to here.
Oh, nice.
And,
You worked
we shoot
it
just down
out,
the street.
yeah.
So I go home and I nap and shower and mutter to myself, and then we go back and we.
You drink your vampire blood so you don't age.
Exactly
right.
right. Exactly right.
Done. Check.
Any blood will do.
Oh really? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Any volunteers later? We'll get to that later. We're good.
And then we're in wardrobe, and we always do a what we call an Italian line run. So we try to say the lines as fast as we can.
Oh, really?
Which never comes out particularly fast. But then we do have a ritual that everyone's always wanted to know about, that we have sworn we'll never tell about. It's just the four of us backstage, sort of touching heads, and we say something that we've always said, and that's a secret.
I love it. By the way, that made me put on a Grace face. Did you see that? This is like a. Tell me one thing about Sean Hayes that nobody knows.
He is 4'9". Yeah, we have to do a lot of work.
It's like CGI stretching and a lot of apple boxes.
Something we've said this in a couple of interviews lately, so I'm not saying nobody knows this, but the greatest thing about Sean is that when he started the show, he was the youngest.
Yeah.
He's still the youngest.
Right.
And
he really had only done Billy's Hollywood Kiss before the show,
and
right?
a couple of commercials.
Right. Okay.
He was 27, and it was his first show.
Oh, wee baby. Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
And yet, I think in some ways he came out of the gate. The pilot episode with a full-fledged character. Jack, I think, was the most realized character in that pilot. Yeah, but he's gone on to become a big producer. He produces a lot of television. He produced Grimm for all those years. Yeah, that was his company's show.
I loved that show.
Yeah.
I think maybe we have some fan questions. Who's
let's
first?
do
Who's
that.
brave enough to go first?
Right. So my racy question for you tonight is, would you ever date a really kind-hearted Republican on the show, and how long would you hide it from Grace?
Probably not, but if I did, forever. I think those two
Good
answers.
answer.
Yeah.
She would rub that in your face till the end of time. Correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, I think that the fun part of what I love about the show is that it's not at the table read what it is 5 days later. Our writers don't just listen to what they've written and go, great, we're good. They are really self-critical. They're constantly bettering it. Jokes that were just okay at the table get thrown out. That speech that I say at the end that I love so much about it's going to be the same as before, because we know it's going to be the same, but this time it's going to be that didn't show up for like 2 days. They knew that there was something. We had to have it almost ended with the pillow fight.
Right.
And then we're sitting there next morning going, we shouldn't be involved in politics. But there wasn't that moment. And that moment came 2 days in, and once we had that, then suddenly the episode takes shape. And our problem is that we shoot one day and airs 6 weeks later, when a Trump joke might just be ancient by that point. Everyone will have done it already.
Right.
Because you just can't release our show in 1 day. So, but we're starting to figure out ways that we can be political and timely without having to be topical, of something that happened today. And just today, the script we read this morning has a couple of great things about race that only we could do the way we're doing it.
I love it. This is what America needs, so thank you. I am curious, I know in the initial show, it took a couple seasons before we saw Will kiss anybody. How is his date? And then he had a pretty good dating life for the rest of the series.
Well, better than he often is given credit.
I have to say that's true. Can you remember everyone that you've kissed on the show? I don't know that. Can anyone?
I bet between all of us we can come up with it, right?
Right.
I mean, whenever reporters say to me, so Will was always real chaste. I'm
he was so celibate.
Except for like tonguing Tay Diggs. Like that happened. That happened.
Talk me through that. No, just kidding. I do love me some Tay Diggs. Let's be honest.
There was Tay Diggs. There was Patrick Dempsey. There was a young. One of my favorite episodes, because it had one of my favorite sort of deliveries. There's a young guy. We tackle a similar thing coming up, but it was a young guy who thinks I'm much younger than I am, and we're in a club or something.
Yeah.
And he says to me, "Well, why is it a big deal? Like, what are you, like 28?" And I say, "28? Yes, I am." But that guy and I have this kiss, and I think that might have been the one. The video store guy. That's the video store guy. And that might have been the first one. No, the first one was Sean.
Yeah.
And that was a good kiss.
It was, and that was a great way of doing it.
It was a protest kiss.
Yes.
But.
So moving forward, are we going to have like an active dating life for Will?
I got a good kiss and a great kiss coming up in the first 6 episodes.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for being here. We are, I don't know, can you feel the excitement in the room? Yes. This is just indicative of a small piece of the fandom across America that is just like dancing in the streets tonight, so thank you. I understand we have a little bit of a treat for the fans tonight.
I think we do have a little taste of next week.
Are you saying that you don't need me?
Why are we doing this, Karen?
Just say it.
I'm not gonna say
it.
Say it. I don't need you.
That is it. We're done. You won't hear another word. I am locking it up.
Shower locked. What just happened?
Locking it up forever.
Stop talking.
Oh, sorry I've been such a drain. Guess I'll just shut up.
Drain shut.
No. Oh, we are at war. It is
Don't say
on.
it! Shower on.
This has been so much fun hanging out with 20 of my closest friends.
Yes!
Woo! We'll be back next week, so make sure if you have any questions for the cast, Debra, Sean, or Megan, tweet us up and use #AskWillAndGrace. We'll be back here next week after the show. Thank you for joining us for the Will and Grace